The Israel-Hamas war has taken the world by storm. Now protests are flaring up across the globe. Both pro-Israel and pro-Palestine demonstrators are taking to the streets to display their solidarity with both the warring sides. And in some places, incidents of violent clashes between both sides have also surfaced. Here's a report. A vigil was held for Israel in New York. People gathered to pray and mourn for those who were killed and injured in the surprise attack by Hamas.
And so we gather together in vigil for our beloved Israel. And we ask that God attend to all those in Israel who are suffering from injury or terror, heartache or grief. May these precious souls feel the warmth and safety and security of God's presence. And may God soon guide them to wholeness.
Condemning the attack, New York's mayor called it one of the worst disgusting acts someone can ever witness.
But I am in so much pain from what I saw and what I witnessed. Nothing can justify pulling innocent children from their homes, murdering them, dragging them through the streets, laying your feet across their bodies. Nothing can justify what we witnessed. Nothing can justify what we witnessed.
Meanwhile, the White House was lit up in blue and white colors of the Israeli flag to show their solidarity. The US has also begun delivering critically needed munitions and military equipment to Israel. Colombians gathered at the Israeli embassy in Bogota to show their solidarity. And in Paris, hundreds rallied their support for Israel, which ended with the iconic Eiffel Tower being lit up with a projection of the Israeli flag. Meanwhile, pro-Palestinian protesters gathered outside Jordan's Al-Khaloti Mosque near the Israeli embassy in Amman. About 1,000 protesters carried pro-Hamas placards and chanted slogans in support of Palestinian resistance. Palestinians in Chile called on the international community to stop the conflict. Children made placards and painted their hands red to represent the civilians killed during the conflict in the Gaza Strip. Over 1,000 Sydney residents marched in solidarity with Palestinians. Protesters marched to the Sydney Opera House and voiced their anger at the situation in Gaza and the Australian government's support of Israel. Flares were lit and some were even thrown at the stairs in front of the Sydney Opera House.
Oh, it's amazing. I'm actually on the verge of crying. So I really want an end to this occupation, just like South Africa did experience that end of genocide. I think I would like to see that for Palestinian people.
And in Madrid, protesters called out people for labeling Palestinians terrorists and the civilians murderers. They were even heard chanting slogans. It's not a war, it's a genocide. Pro-Israel and pro-Palestine protests also broke out simultaneously in London. Londoners gathered on Downing Street to show their support for Israel, with placards claiming that the most number of Jews have been killed since the Holocaust.
Today we saw the true face of the Free Palestine movement. I think today everybody saw that it's nothing to do with coexistence or land and everything to do with wanting to wipe out the Jewish state and every Jew inside it. I think everybody has seen why we have a border fence now, why we need soldiers, and why we don't have peace.
Around the same time, hundreds of protesters also gathered in London to show solidarity with the Palestinian people. They chanted slogans saying that they will not be silenced. In New York, while the vigil was being held for those killed in Israel, pro-Palestinian protesters gathered in New York's Manhattan to protest Israel's occupation of Gaza. New York police separated the two gatherings with metal barricades.
We demand an end to the siege and blockade of Gaza. We demand an end to the occupation. We demand an end to the colonization of Palestine and all Arab lands, including Syrian lands like the Golan Heights and Sheba Farms and which are also occupied by Israel. And we demand an end to this government.
And in Argentina, hundreds of people took part in a march in support of Israel in Buenos Aires. Around the same time, pro-Palestinian supporters hit the streets in shouting slogans and holding signs against Israel. The demonstrators headed towards the Israeli embassy in the area to continue their protest. Bureau Report, WION, World is One. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.